Show continues with more talks on education. This time, the new school term having been open, we are unfortunately seeing it where some schools in the sister isle are opening late. To give us a bit of an update on that, the TTUTA Tobago Officer Bradon Roberts, who has toured these schools on Monday, joined us to give us some insight. Bradon, good morning and welcome to the Now.
Good morning and good morning to the Now family.
I wish that when you check in, it would be on a more positive start, because if we know that things are off to a late start, that's definitely not good. Let's get the numbers, because you would have gone on a tour. So how many schools are yet to open?
Well, because of the PR, just like in Trinidad, all schools are open. They open all schools, whether they're ready or not. I know that we had two schools in particular I visited, which would have been Pentecostal Light and Life Foundation, that's the primary, and De La Ford RC. While school was open, no teaching could have taken place because the teachers were busy cleaning. So they were in their full cleaning gear, and the principal security also joined in helping them to clean the school because contractors would have left there roughly about 2 o'clock in the morning. And there are other schools that were able to function, although contractors left around that same time. So schools, because of the PR, all schools open. There are some schools, secondary schools open without the requisite number of furniture for students. I would have visited senior secondary on Tuesday. And there are some students standing, there isn't any seat for them. There are some persons sharing a desk with another pupil where the furniture shortage is a significant issue. So the school will reopen with the politics of it, but in terms of the readiness, and I like the team that we opened the session with education, it is indeed the foundation. I don't know how, both in Trinidad, and I believe Trinidad is worse off than Tobago this time around. If this is how we treat in education, how we expect to progress as a country.
Well, Bradon, you've given us a lot of food for thought immediately, but what you're saying in terms of numbers is that we could confirm outright at least 3 then, but then a range of issues still barring the actual ability to educate these students. So tell me, what are some of the other issues, besides from what you described, physical issues, lack of seating? What else did you note on your tours?
Right. So as I visit schools, I will send information to the secretary, and I'm grateful that this time around our communication has remained professional. I know sometimes it's difficult having a name call and a position call in the media ever so often, but it has been a professional relationship since. So once I see lighting issues, plumbing issues, any of those nature, I will send the communication to the secretary. And based on the reports, there have been the speedy response. So there have been the furniture shortage, which is not something they're able to fix right away. I was told that they would have made some procurement. It's late in the making because they should have known the numbers. There are plumbing issues that I would have sent to the secretary as well. There are lighting issues, and by all means, I've been hearing that persons have been going to these schools and trying to address them. There were ceiling issues up until the weekend. But what would have happened in the main? Teachers went out during the weekend, and either they got paint at the hardware, and they had their family and friends, persons in the community to paint up their classroom, to restore the furniture that they have. Because there are a lot of rusting furniture that the schools are counting as usable furniture. So it's not that the shortage includes those derelict furniture, they're using them. The blackboard and so on that the teachers are writing on, some of them are in a terrible state. So those teachers who have the support at home and so on, that would have had persons that come in and help them to restore their room, would have been better off than the others who are trying to make do with whatever they have.
But it sounds like these teachers need to have extra support and extra accolades given to them, because if you're describing them doing things well outside of the purview of teaching to make sure that these students can come to school, it means that you probably got some insight from them directly as well, I'd imagine. Did they give you actual feedback to specifics that you'd like to share?
Well, they're frustrated, and they're buying this stuff and supporting the system, and they're complaining to tutors, so they're cursing me too, because I mean, they're fed up of it. But you see, the humanitarian side of our teachers is that we just cannot see this gap, and it will affect the students. So teachers, and we will be our own worst enemy. Because the things that we do give the division and the ministry the leeway to then relax because teachers will do something about it. But it is very frustrating for the teachers, especially those who are not financially well off, especially with the division owing them large sums of money for increments and back pay. Some persons still don't get back pay. From the ministry side of it, though, it's Tobago, those who transfer to Tobago are still waiting on their back pay and so on. So there are outstanding monies for our teachers, and they're using their limited funds to prop up the system. So yes, they're frustrated, but we know that that humanitarian side is very difficult to turn that off. The heat, I know the division of the ministry can't do anything about the heat, but there are some of the ceiling fans that are not working. The schools would have requested fans, the portable ones that have not been delivered. So the frustration on the ground, it is quite evident, and we are trying our very best to not have it affect our performance of our duty.
Right.
One of the other significant things I could just quickly mention is that majority of the schools weren't even clean. So I would have expressed to the secretary, even if we weren't able to fix certain things, at least we got in a clean school. So some schools were able to get persons in the community to power wash for them. Some schools, the division would have power wash, and in the later half, well, the later 1/8, and some schools won't wash that all. So we are concerned with the health and safety where, usually September, a lot of the teachers and students will come down with the flu and so on. You will at least want the school to be clean.
Well, Bradon, I am appreciative of the distinctions and the candor that you're sharing these details with us as well. But I know that you are actively reporting simultaneously while doing these tours. So when we talk about getting feedback or the redress that you're suggesting might take place later on in the school term, is it that they've also responded to confirm for you set dates or expected timelines for responses?
Well, I'm hearing about phases, and that there is a phase 2 to come in December. But in the meantime, there are some things that you're going to address during the term. Now, it's unacceptable to me because if every year we're doing this, by January morning, July, August coming. And I would have submitted to the division in April because I said I want to give them enough feedback so that they could start preparing for the July, August. So at least by the ending of July, we could start. And it's, well, I don't even want to know if I'm disappointed because almost expecting them to still have the issue this year. And contractors would have gone out the week before school open, the week before that, 2 weeks before school open, and they were not able to do a lot of the work that they were supposed to do. My concern that I expressed to the secretary is the quality of the work. Because if you have workmen there midnight, the night before school open, what quality of work is being done? I mean, I went into one of the schools and those white tubs that you use to wash your hands in, it was installed at an angle. Well, of course, if the drain pipe is in the middle, the water would not be coming out of that tub easily. So those things, I would have reported those. And if we take education seriously, we will not be able to have these back and forth come September, October every year.
Hearing you loud and clear. It does mean, though, that we're probably going to check in with you again, especially if there's a second phase where we can update not just the viewers and listeners, but get updates from the school as well. So the way forward is to, as per usual, report and wait for a response, is what I'm hearing then. Am I right?
Yes, and then we guide our teachers because sometimes the frustration levels get to the teachers. Sometimes they want to refuse to work. They find tutor and backing them in that particular regard, but we have to be responsible in our actions. So it's not that we want to just shut down schools, but tutor don't shut down schools. If there are health and safety breaches, our teachers will be guided to refuse to work accordingly. So, we try to have the division intervene and assist and so on. If it's something that we cannot wait, then we would advise that we need to do the refusal to work procedure and submit it so we have the inspectors come and check it out and so on. So we balance those things. So we report and then we act accordingly if the division don't respond.
Well, we'll keep in touch to get an appraisal or an update, if you will, on the action to be taken in the near future. But for now, we truly appreciate the insight and hope that as the term develops, things will develop more positively. So the next check-in will be a little bit more pleasant, yeah?
Yeah, trying to be hopeful.
He's trying to be hopeful. Well, that's all we can ask. Of course, Bradon Roberts, the Tobago officer at TTUTA, giving us a little bit of insight as we check in with the new school term. We will continue on the theme of education here on the Now Morning Show after the break. Stick around, guys.